What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back, ready to talk to you fine people about life. So thank you very much for tuning in. And what has prompted today's episode of this dialogue, if you will, is I was just, I got home from work, was working hard today, got home, sitting on the couch watching basketball. And I had opened my phone to go look at Instagram. And I'm just scrolling through Instagram, and I swear I saw like 3 people I knew from high school posting pictures of their baby. I didn't know any of these people had babies. And the point that I came to after looking at all of this, because I was rather appalled, was one that, like, wow, maybe I'm just really getting old. And 2, like, your 20s are just such a strange age and time. Like, this has probably got to be the most wild decade you'll have in your life. And not in the terms of like, oh, you're going to go out and party and do all this and that. Like, some people do that in their 20s, right? You don't have to do that. But just in the sense that, like, in your 20s, like, all of your friends and people that you know, like, from high school and college, like, everyone kind of starts going in their own direction, right? And it's just such a weird time to, like, navigate because, like, for me, right, like, I go to work every day. I'm very focused on, like, making my life be what it is. I'm not necessarily focused on, like, finding a relationship or having kids or any of that stuff right now, right? Eventually, I want all that stuff, but I'm not focused on it right now because I'm trying to, become who I want to be in my life, right? I'm doing this YouTube stuff. I'm making beats. I'm going to work. Like, I don't really have time to do any of that other stuff right now. But then you have other people that do life a whole different way, right? And I think this is all just because when you're in high school, everyone's kind of like made to, do things a certain way, right? You all go to class, you play sports, you have after school clubs, whatever, you party, you do whatever, right? But like, most people aren't doing like, making a ton of money or like starting their families in high school, right? Like that type of stuff's not happening. And then you get to college and it's, kind of similar. You're all on the same path, if you will, and you all hang out, you do your thing, And then once you get in your 20s, it's like you're still kind of in this like transition between like adolescence and adulthood, but you're like actually an adult, but people still treat you like a kid, and like you don't really make a lot of money when you first get out of school, and you're working late, you're getting treated like poorly. And I think like another thing that I thought of was, I know I'm jumping around here, but it all makes sense in the end. Another thing that I thought of was like, in high school, you have this 4-year period, right, where you experience like dramatic changes in like how you're perceived and how you perceive yourself through that time period, right? Because like for a lot of people, you enter as a freshman, like no one really cares about you, right? All the girls are talking about the seniors and the older kids, and then you become a senior and you're those older kids, right? And then everyone's looking at you. You feel cool. You have that swagger. You know what I'm saying? And then, same thing, you go to college and you're back at square one, right? You're a freshman again. And then, maybe you are an athlete, or you're, a popular kid on campus or whatever, and you elevate yourself over time. But usually that doesn't happen until you're a junior or senior, what have you, right? So you go through these periods in your life during your adolescence of like, you go from like being low on the totem pole, low on the food chain, to being high on the food chain. And then you go back to square one, and then you do it again. And then when you get into the real world, that it's not a period of 4 years, right? Like, it's very rare that someone gets out of college and by the time they're 25 or 26 or 27, they're like, they have it all. Like, they're at the top of the food chain. It just doesn't happen that way, right? So you might not really hit your stride until you're 30, 31, 32, 35, like, who knows, right? And, it doesn't necessarily mean it's because you're not working hard or anything like that. It's just like the world is, it's almost like your view of the world has been opened slowly for a long time, right? Like, you're in high school, you're kind of in your own bubble. You live in your town, maybe you live in a small town, you don't have you have a very narrow scope of the world, right? You go to college, that opens up a little bit, right? You meet people from other places and things like that. And then you get out into the world and like maybe you move to a big city, maybe you move to New York, maybe you move to LA, maybe you move to Tokyo, I don't know, right? And you start meeting people from all over the place, right? And you start seeing like, oh wow, like the world is so much bigger than I thought. And it's a lot more competitive, right? It's hard to get up to the top of that food chain when you were competing with 300 kids in your high school, and now you're competing with 1,000 kids in college, and now you're competing with billions of people in the world. And maybe in your industry or whatever you're trying to do, you got, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, who knows, right? Millions. I have no idea. So your 20s is difficult because of that, primarily for a lot of people. In that you feel like you're just like constantly just like eating shit. Like, you get forced to work late, you're doing all this stuff, you're being treated like you need to do all this stuff for other people at work, and you're not getting rewarded for it, you're not getting talked to with respect. It's a common thing, and it's hard for people to deal with. I've dealt with the same thing, right? But the other thing, back to my main point about all of these people, I'm seeing with babies and stuff, people achieve, different, milestones in their lives at different paces as soon as you hit your 20s. And that's really the hard thing, is because everyone thinks, I think, kind of on this like similar scale, that it's like, oh, well, I need to have kids by this age, and I need to be married by this age, and if I don't find a girlfriend, and trust me, like when you get older, like all that stuff kind of goes out the window, right? It's like you really have to do what's right for you. You shouldn't rush things. And who knows, maybe some of these people I saw on Instagram, maybe they are rushing things and they're just trying to post it to, feel better about themselves. Who knows? You never know what someone else is thinking. But it's just crazy, dude. I mean, like, I have friends that are extremely successful, and they're in their mid-20s. I have friends that are doing horrible, right? They're sleeping on couches and things like that. And, it's just when you are in your 20s, everyone just has such a varying degree from one another, it seems like. And it's the first time in your life really where that happens, right? You don't really have it in high school. Sure, if someone has better grades than this person or whatever, it's like it's not the same. Everyone's living at home, no one's like doing some crazy stuff. Maybe you have that one kid, right? But now everyone's kind of on different wavelengths, it seems like. And like I said, like I have friends that are having kids, I have friends that are getting married, I have friends that, are making tons of money, I have friends that are not making any money, I have friends that are still living at home, I have friends that have passed away. Like, there's just so much variation in your 20s, and you really just start to understand, like, life is real. Like, life is real, life can be brutal, and life can be sweet. Right. And I go to say all of this because your 20s is really when you like figure out who you are. Right. And I mean that in the sense of like, you kind of figure out like, all right, what are my goals? Like, how can I achieve it? And what do I need to do? Because it's like, you're not, I used to do this at least when I was in high school, where it was like, oh, I still got to graduate high school, so I can't really do much yet. Right. I still got to grow up and do this. All right. Now you're grown up when you're in your 20s. So there's nothing holding you back to go out there and just get it. Get what you want. Get what you deserve. And that's kind of the wavelength I'm on, right? I'm out here trying to do what I can do to achieve what I want. I want to, inspire people. I want to talk to people. I want to connect with lots of people. I want to, make music. I want to make beats. I want to make these YouTube videos. I want to connect with all of you guys through YouTube. And that's what I'm focused on, right? So my point with that is, don't worry so much about what other people are doing. You're going to have this happen in your 20s, right? If you guys are 15, 16, 17, 18 years old and you're not in your 20s yet, you're still in high school, you haven't gone to college yet, anything like that, like, you'll probably feel this way at some point. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Comparison is the thief of joy. So don't sit there and think about, oh, well, this dude did this at this age, and this guy's got a family, and this guy's got a really hot girlfriend and all that. Like, don't worry about all that. Worry about you. and worry about what you can do to build the life that you want, right? And it doesn't matter if you get there when you're 25 or 29 or 35 or 40. It doesn't matter, because as long as you set your mind to it and you do what you gotta do every day and you set your goals and you keep your faith in what you're doing and who you are, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. But yeah, man, your 20s is a weird spot. 20s is a weird spot. You got friends doing all tons of different stuff, and you really start to see, like, you know, like this is what life is all about, right? And a lot of people say too, they say your 20s suck, right? And I think that's a very broad way to say it. I mean, I wouldn't say it like that. I think your 20s are difficult for most people. It's a time where you probably learn the most that you've ever learned in your life, right? It's not like learning like you're going to a classroom and this, that, whatever, right? You're in the workforce, you're not making a lot of money, you're working a lot, you're trying to do everything you can on the side, right? Like I go to work and I come home and I do this type of stuff, right? I record videos, I make beats, I try to figure out how I can, you know, make my content better, do all that stuff. You know, I talk to my family, you know, I have to focus my time a lot more. So you learn just how to work better. You learn how to understand things on a deeper level. You learn more about who you are and what works for you to do what you want to do in life, right? So people are going to say your 20s suck. It's probably not going to be the best time of your life unless you're extremely lucky and you hit all of your success, you know, magically in your 20s. It's not common, but it's possible. But if you're like, you know, most other people where you kind of have to really work hard and struggle through your 20s to, you know, make things happen for yourself, just know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So keep grinding, keep doing your thing, and just keep your head up, man. But that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you guys are in your 20s, you know, leave some comments down below for everyone who's, you know, maybe younger than that and, you know, wants to learn from people who have gone through the process. And we could just give everyone advice. You know, that's what this channel is about. I want to give people advice. I want to, you know, have fun with people. I want to talk to people. And I get to be myself on this channel. I get to be myself on my other channel too, but I talk about basketball a lot. Here I get to talk about all that real shit, man. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna catch you later. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. Peace.